Everybody, it's Jennifer McCreath, March 20th, 2014. Turning the camera on specifically to address Words in Edgewise, a organization that's putting on a talk tonight at Eastern Edge. The topic being trans, drag, and intersections of gender bending. Can we all just get along? And I really appreciate the fact that I'm having a chance to address you all. Sorry I couldn't be there tonight. Very interesting topic. Can we all just get along? Interesting idea. First question, I guess, is why do we need to get along? What do trans and drag have in common? Well, two things that I can think of. One, we're all human beings. Two, the rest of the world thinks we're all the same. My understanding is that we are not. Now, I'm not an expert on drag, but my understanding of drag is that it's a form of expression, it's a form of entertainment. And trans, well, that's a medical condition that deals with hormones and surgeries, so not a whole lot in common, really, if you think about it. Why is there friction? Well, I think both of our entities are lumped under these umbrellas. We're lumped into this gay lesbian community umbrella. Some people call it the LGBT community. I, for one, make it quite clear that sexual orientation and gender identity are two very different things. And when I'm talking about trans issues, a lot of people want to switch the conversation over to gay lesbian issues. RuPaul, let me throw that name out there. Don't really know the guy. I do know that he seems to speak his mouth on trans issues. My opinion, if someone asks RuPaul what he thinks of a trans issue, his response should be, I'm not trans, I'm a drag queen. Go ask someone who's trans. No different than if someone were to ask me questions about the drag community. I would say, I'm not part of that community. I suggest you go and talk to one of the experts on that field. We can be allies. Why is RuPaul seen as not an ally? Well, I think part of the problem is terminology. We use the same words to describe ourselves, and they mean totally different things. I'm a little older than most. The word queer, there's a good example of a word that has a double meaning. It means something to us older folks, it means something very different to the younger folks. We hear RuPaul use terms like tranny, she-male, transvestite. That's the way you want to describe yourself, fine, but don't use those words to describe trans people, because most of us do not identify with those terms at all. We find it derogatory and offensive. Where drag, is my understanding, is a way to poke fun at gender norms and stereotypes in the binary world. Transition, there's nothing funny about that at all. It's a medical condition that requires a high level of health care. It can be very costly and expensive. The physical and emotional tolls on someone to transition, definitely not funny at all. And we don't like being sexualized. Maybe drag artists like to be sexualized. Trans people do not. Trans people, like anyone else, we all have a sex, we all have a gender, we have a sexual orientation, we have a gender identity. But we're not here to necessarily flaunt that or broadcast it. I keep those things generally quiet to myself. It's really none of anyone's business who I'm attracted to, who I'm dating, or whatever. Bottom line is I'm looking to be seen for all the other qualities I bring to the table. Jennifer McCreath is who I am. It is not a character I dress up as. Who am I? I'm an aspiring politician. I'm the first openly trans person to seek political office in the province of Newfoundland and Labrador. I'm an animal rights activist. I'm a marathon runner. See my shirt? It actually says right there, Georgia Marathon. 3 years ago today, I actually ran the Georgia Marathon, if you can believe that. Yeah, I don't want to be defined by sex, gender, sexual identity, sexual orientation. Can I entertain people? Sure, maybe. I guess in closing, can we get along? I think so. Why should we get along? I think that's the question I'll pose to the table. We got two very unique, diverse communities. Do we need to work together? And if so, on what? What can we work together on to accomplish? Or are we best to just say, we're us, you're you, we respect each other, we have our own mandates and our own things to do? I'm still waiting. I'm not sure I understand what it is we can do together. I guess I'll put that out to the floor. I hope this discussion leads to some interesting ideas, and I would love to hear from anyone. Big shout out to Taylor Stocks. I mentioned the term binary when I was referring to drag, and it's my understanding Taylor has undertaken an effort to break down the binary concept of drag and create gender fluid drag characters, and I think that's a great idea, because one thing I can't stand is the binary concept, because gender and sex are not binary. I think any of us who know anything about this would agree. And if you want to make drag more appealing or accepting to someone like myself, getting rid of gender stereotypes and binary is probably a great way to go with this. Anyway, I've taken up enough of your time. Thank you so much for watching, and do get in touch if you'd like to chat further. Enjoy the rest of the evening, folks. I'm Jennifer McCreath. Good night.